Really, it's best to understand the divine simplicity, at least as Voetius is going to be talking about it, and it's going to be very much in common with the other Reformed Orthodox and the medievals and these sorts of things. The divine simplicity is something that is used in the technical discipline of theology to properly orient us to know God. It's outlines how we're to move positively through predicating various perfections of the divine. And so for Voetius, as he's going to articulate the divine simplicity, it's not just about defending some metaphysical attribute of God, as it's often called today, and I think wrongly, but really he's going to be articulating something like a control for right thinking and speaking about God. And this is really important because abstracting a piece like this from the rest of Voetius' theology as it's worked out throughout the rest of the disputations could lend misunderstanding on what simplicity is and what simplicity is actually for Voetius himself. So whenever you abstract or extract simplicity from its job in theology, it takes on something of a life of its own, and that occludes what it actually is and what it's intended to be and what it is for theologians of this time period. And that is to say, it's primarily more of a function in theology, which is then reflectively reduced to an attribute, so that when you get to that attribute, you perform that function that attribute stands for. So it's not really an attribute like other attributes. It's not one of those attributes you find in Scripture, like God's love or God's
Hmm.
holiness, but it arises consequence the theological task, and then is reduced to an attribute that we talk about to make sure that we're thinking rightly about God as we proclaim His praise.